Lights, camera, action. Tonight on Fox 56 News at 7, how the Commonwealth is drawing more entertainment business to the state. Why you could see a lot more Kentucky-made films and shows. And the cost of borrowing money just went up by a lot. Tonight we'll focus on your money to see if aggressive action to fight inflation could spark a recession. And the search for a killer. Tonight, hear from part of the security team at a Lexington church where a man was killed during a funeral. Fox 56 News at 7 starts now.
Live from Lexington, our home, your news. This is Fox 56 News at 7.
Good evening, I'm Bodie Brooks in tonight for Imani Payne. We start tonight with some strong to severe storms in parts of the Bluegrass. Here's meteorologist David Aldrich with a first look at the Weather Authority radar. David.
Hey, thanks a lot, Bodie. Yes, I wanted to give you the macro view. Also to let you know, this is a loop over the last 3 hours. So from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., because we're at 7 o'clock, this is what's evolved. A lot of it's just kind of flared up in the last hour or two. I want to dive right into where we have some concerns. We're talking about a severe thunderstorm warning down to the south and east. Here's Lexington. We've got a couple of showers near Georgetown. But if we zoom in, this is the one that's severe that runs until 7:15. It's Owsley County. It's southwestern Breathitt County. It's also southern Lee County. So a section of 3 counties until 7:15. You can see the lightning strikes and the times, like Wolverine at 7:06, should be around Jackson at 7:08, and around Watts at 7:10. But Boonville has also had not only some downpours, but potentially maybe 1-inch size hail. Not necessarily what you want to see on a Wednesday afternoon or ever, but that's what we're dealing with at this moment. But the big view, again, this is just a start of a pipeline of showers and storms. We're going to see more of this, Bodie, as we head into the night tonight. In the meantime, grab the umbrella. We're down into the lower 70s by morning.
David, thank you. Well, could Kentucky become a new Hollywood? It's possible you may see more film crews on your street as the state promotes an incentive to bring more movies and shows to the Bluegrass. As many as 19 productions are currently underway across Kentucky, and there's plenty more money on the table to bring even more.
You could just shoot it here in Kentucky.
As of January 1st, the Commonwealth's entertainment incentive became refundable. One of only 7 states to do so.
Ours is a tax credit. It's fully refundable, and on all qualified expenses, it's 30 to 35% refund, which makes us the most competitive state in the country.
Wrigley Media Group is one such company taking advantage. In simple terms, when a production ends, eligible expenses spent in the state are calculated and audited. The state then gives back a percentage based on their investment in Kentucky.
That's the key, a refund, not a credit or promise or bureaucratic logjam, a check with your name on it.
Wrigley released this video to promote the offer and attract more films.
When movie and television shows look to find locations for where to film, a lot of times the film incentive will be that deciding factor for them.
And it's not just for major studios. Independent thriller suspense series Midas Cove is set to begin filming in August.
The era of big studios is really dying out. And what's great about Kentucky is that there are so many different landscapes, from cities to mountains to rivers.
Somerset, beautiful. We're going to be doing some things in Lexington. Lexington's got everything pretty much. And we're also going to do a small scene down in Floyd County where I'm from.
And as Elizabeth Combs explains, the increase in film production ripples into more business for local communities.
Crew has to eat, so catering companies see a huge increase in business. Carpenters have to build sets.
Wrigley is completing a production studio downtown that can lease studios, equipment, and crew. Midas Cove is also looking for extras. If you're interested, check them out on social media. There is breaking news tonight at 7. Politico reporting the Biden administration will declare monkeypox a public health emergency. Politico reporting that could come as soon as the end of this week. In the United States, nearly 3,600 cases have been reported, with New York City being the center of the outbreak. The CDC says there are 6 confirmed cases in Kentucky. An iconic Lexington art exhibit vandalized for the 2nd time this summer. That starts our look at headlines right now. Someone broke off the head and leg of one of the Horse Mania statues over the weekend. The head of LexArts tells us it happened early Sunday morning. We're told someone kicked the horse until it broke, and the person took off with the head. This statue was created by the students at Julius Marks Elementary. There's an effort to raise money to help the school's students get another horse. That information is inside this story on the Fox 56 News app. Problems caused by flooding have forced officials in Floyd County to declare a local state of emergency. Governor Beshear's office says state help has not been asked for yet. State emergency management leaders are in Floyd County. This video showing a swollen Abbott Creek in Floyd County is one of many areas hit by flooding after heavy rain on Monday. The Mega Millions jackpot will be more than $1 billion for Friday's drawing. It's only the fourth time the game has topped $1 billion. The record Mega Millions jackpot was $1.5 billion back in 2018. A single ticket in South Carolina won that one. But what about the odds of winning? They're actually always 1 in 302.5 million, no matter how high the prize. Borrowing money is getting even more expensive for car buyers, home buyers, or anyone who carries a credit card balance. The Federal Reserve hiking interest rates for a fourth time this year, desperately trying to cool the economy. But as Fox's Lauren Blanchard reports, there's concern the rate hikes could trigger a recession.
To fight inflation, the Federal Reserve has made the decision to hike interest rates for a second time in a row by 3/4 of a percentage point.
My colleagues and I are acutely aware that high inflation imposes significant hardship, especially on those least able to meet the higher costs of essentials like food, housing, and transportation.
It's the fourth rate increase this year, making it more expensive to get a loan or take out a mortgage.
These rate hikes have been large and they've come quickly, and it's likely that their full effect has not been felt by the economy.
The Fed raises rates in hopes it will cool 4-decade-high inflation, but a too aggressive approach could trigger a recession. There is concern if Thursday morning's gross domestic product report shows a second quarter of a shrinking economy. It will, in many economists' minds, mean the U.S. is in recession.
We're not trying to have a recession, and we don't think we have to. We think that there's a path. I do not think the U.S. is currently in a recession.
Republicans aren't buying the downplaying of recession fears by the White House.
We've seen the indicators for months now, families paying more for goods everywhere they go. You can't redefine your way out of a recession. You've got to reverse the failed policies.
Chairman Powell said another large interest rate hike is possible next month. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
More focus on your money and new word that we aren't saving enough for retirement. A new survey showing 1/3 of U.S. workers are coming up short in their savings. Nearly 40% of those responding say they aren't saving because they don't have enough money. Other reasons? They're unemployed or are too young. Financial experts warn waiting too long to save might make retirement more difficult. And to focus on your money at the cash register, top execs at some of the world's largest brands say we shouldn't expect relief from high prices anytime soon. The brands Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and the maker of Dove shampoo say they are dealing with higher costs. Some of those retailers say shoppers are trying to find cheaper options, such as generic store brands. A place of worship turning into a crime scene. A man shot and killed inside a Lexington church while attending a funeral, and the case is still unsolved. Up next, one of the deputies working security describes what happened inside that church.
You're watching Fox 56 News. Our home, your news. World-class Crime Stoppers. Sponsored by 46 Solutions.
A Lexington church became the center of a police investigation in early June after a Woodford County man was shot and killed while paying respects to his friend who was killed. Both of the crimes are still unsolved. Crime Stoppers reporter Kristen Flum talked for the first time to a sheriff's deputy providing security at the funeral, who described when the somber ceremony turned to chaos.
Deputy Anthony Palmer has tackled various tasks as a 13-year veteran of the Sheriff's Department. Saturday, June 4th, his duties took him to Haggard Court, where he and others were assigned to stand watch over the funeral of Malcolm Long.
We handle funeral escorts. Anytime a homicide takes place in the city and there's nobody that's been arrested, usually the families or the funeral home will ask us to provide security inside the church.
Nothing was out of the ordinary that day as a constant line of visitors wove through the Unity Worship Center, all there to pay their respects to the 29-year-old.
And the next thing you know, we just hear pop, pop, pop. And we look at each other kind of like shocked, like this can't be.
Not here, not in a place of worship, on a dark day for so many family members and friends.
You know, it is hundreds of people to this event to honor somebody's life. And, you know, we have a suspect come up, drive up, get out, and kind of have an execution-style murder right in the parking lot.
And from there, Deputy Palmer says things only got worse.
Of course, he was covered in blood, and we provided life-saving measures. While trying to help him and save his life, you know, we have to also maintain the crowd. While doing that, one of our deputies was assaulted by another subject. Again, which is something that shouldn't have happened because we're trying to help.
The crowd turned frantic and furious, Deputy Palmer says. Some streamed the chaos over social media, others ran. And eventually, for investigators, a motive appeared in Joseph Richardson's murder.
It is 100% retaliation shooting. We obviously didn't know what was going to happen, but it was retaliation.
There are dozens who could help clear this case. One call to Crime Stoppers identifying the shooter is all it takes.
He has told somebody, people know who the shooter is, and we desperately need to come forward. Because right now this guy is out there, and it's very dangerous if you think about something like this on the loose.
In Lexington, Kristen Flum, Fox 56 News.
To try to help Lexington police solve unsolved 2022 homicides, Crime Stoppers has increased the reward for information in Malcolm Long and Joseph Richardson's murders to $2,500. You can leave your anonymous information on the tip line by calling 859-253-2020 or by going online to p3tips.com.
Well, we've got some very heavy rain in parts of the metro right now. North Lexington all the way toward Clintonville and just now approaching North Middletown. So all this is working its way through areas right now. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning for another minute till 7:15 for parts of southwest Breathitt, southern Lee, as well as Owsley County. This is our 3D mode and the towns you can see on your screen. Stay with us. Your forecast is coming up.
And we'll focus on the positive. But your take on this story will depend on your feelings on candy corn.
Tomorrow, wake up with the Fox 56 Morning News, the only news that stays local from 5 to 9.
Time to spend some time focusing on the positive tonight at 7. And we start with some out-of-this-world news for a couple Kentucky students. Otherworldly congratulations to Will Anderson and Annalad McCallinan. The UK students have been selected for the Henry Clay internship at the NASA headquarters for the upcoming school year. They'll work in the NASA office of the chief scientist. Will is a senior from Buckner studying mechanical engineering. Anna is a senior physics major from Lexington. And we're not sure who asked for this, but Brock's is introducing a new tailgate candy corn mix. Check out the flavors: hot dog, hamburger, vanilla ice cream, fruit punch, and popcorn. Brock says it wants candy corn to be an all-year-round treat, not just during Halloween. The company says the brave souls who want to try the tailgate candy corn can pick it up at Walgreens.
Now, your forecast from Fox 56 News, the weather authority.
Well, we have some downpours, but they're localized, so you might not be getting rain. But if you're in northern parts of Lexington, there's been some downpours between the metro all the way back toward Clintonville and North Middletown. Maybe a few lightning strikes near our station. That has certainly been detected in some cases, but most of what we're going to continue to watch is some of the rain that will be ebbing and flowing. Sometimes it's going to be all on, and sometimes it's just going to pull away, as you can look outside our studio. But we have 162 lightning strikes on this image alone. So we have a downpour north of Lexington. We've got another one down toward Boonville and headed toward, say, Jackson and Breathitt County. If we pick up another 1 to 3 inches of rain over the next couple of days, it wouldn't surprise me, but it may come down all at once. Those yellow areas suggest closer to 3 inches, and it suggests here about 2.2 at Bluegrass Airport, and that would be on top of what we've already had. Now, isolated severe storms will be possible on Thursday, all areas in green, suggesting that we're all fair game for that. It's 82 in Lexington. That may be rain cool because it's still 88 in Danville and Richmond, and Lexington did hit 88 degrees today for an afternoon high. You'll notice this weekend we're going to stay somewhat closer to the actual temperature. It feels like has been off the chart as of the last few days, but by Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, temperatures will be in the 80s, and the feels like will be in the low to mid 80s. Thursday, we have a sunrise at 6:28. May not see much of it because showers and storms will be on the increase tomorrow, as you'll find some hazy sunshine with a high of 86 degrees. Let me take you through time, because by 10 o'clock tonight, another line may form, and then it may stop a little bit at 2 in the morning. Another one comes in at 5 a.m. It's like a raindrop of a parade of raindrops coming in from parts of the west, and then we head into tomorrow afternoon. It slows down only to come back late Thursday night and into Friday, and then we'll see some improvement, I think, by Friday afternoon, especially as it moves further south and to the east. But there's some of that rain on Friday coming in from the west, and there it goes. And certainly very wet weather possibility going through the next couple of days. So let me jump ahead to the forecast for tonight. A low of 72. More clouds. Showers and storms are likely. We head into your day on Thursday, high of 86. Clouds, hazy sun, showers and storms, and strong storms are still a possibility. Here's your Fox 56 7-day forecast. We take a look with thunderstorms not far away. A soggy morning on Friday. I think we may have a mainly dry day on Saturday. Saturday looks great for all outdoor activities, including the Friendship Fest in Versailles, but then back more rainy pattern coming in Sunday into Monday of next week. Bodie?
I don't know, David. That one looks like a parade of yuck. Thank you, sir. Well, straight ahead, it's sci-fi meeting the ER. High-tech robots are making a difference in how we get better. We'll explain up next as we focus on your health. And this massive haul continues an amazing streak for finding the world's largest diamonds.
Scan the QR code on your screen now and download the Fox 56 News app. Sponsored by Absolute Services. 56 News with Imani Payne and weather with Chris Johnson.
A new study finds working out with fitness trackers might help people lose more weight. Analysts in Australia studied thousands of people who wear fitness trackers to check their physical activity. The researchers found people using these devices walk up to 40 more minutes every day. That led to a weight loss of 2.2 pounds in 5 months. Analysts also found wearing these devices is linked to lower cholesterol and blood pressure in patients with type 2 diabetes. We're focusing on your health and the growing role robots play in the operating room. Fox's Marianne Rafferty looks at one of the most advanced surgical robots in the world.
Robots and humans are once again joining forces to help change the world. And this time it's taking place inside the operating room at a South African hospital. Where the Da Vinci Xi, one of the world's most advanced surgical robots, is simplifying complex medical procedures.
They magnify the image that you're seeing a lot more than normal laparoscopic stats. You can maneuver with a lot more accuracy and do finer work and get a better result, so you can preserve more organs that way.
A surgeon stationed at the robot's 3D console controls its 4 arms in real time, guiding Da Vinci Xi as it assists surgeons in performing extremely delicate tasks. And because the robot ensures the highest level of accuracy, medical experts say it helps dramatically reduce a patient's hospital stay following their operation.
Patients have done very, very well. They go home much sooner, so our average length of stay is 3 days.
While also decreasing a patient's risk for post-op complications.
They have a lot less nerve damage. You can see that their function is way better. They all tell me they feel as if they haven't had an operation.
Meanwhile, the Da Vinci Xi isn't just helping surgeons in South Africa. According to Intuitive, the tech company behind the device, more than 6,500 Da Vinci systems have so far been installed in more than 6 countries, including here in the U.S. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
We searched the website of that company that makes the Da Vinci system and found there are providers in Lexington, Georgetown, and Danville that offer the service. Tonight's talker focuses on carats, and not the orange kind. This gigantic pink diamond has been found in Africa. Its size, 170 carats. It was found in a diamond mine in Angola, but get this, it's only the 5th largest diamond found in that mine. In fact, 27 diamonds, 100 carats or larger, have been found there. Now let's check back in with David for one last look at your 7-day forecast.
Well, Bodie, I don't think you're a fan of the parade of raindrops, but that's what's in our forecast. You can see we have some showers around Lexington, more back toward Jackson, and heading into places like Breathitt County. We'll talk more about your forecast tonight at 10 o'clock.
Keep that umbrella handy. Thanks for joining us tonight. Our next newscast is at 10 p.m. Have a good night.